A lot of interesting notes and information in today's video from Kellen Moore's press conference, introducing him as the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. But I have a question for you, Who Dat Nation. Do you believe in Kellen Moore as the Saints head coach? Just give me a simple yes or no in the comment section. And without further ado, let's break it all down. Welcome to Saints Now by Chat Sports. As always, I'm your host, Trace Girouard. Thank you so much for tuning into today's video. We're just going to hop right in. Start off hot. I believe that there is a new energy around the black and gold. And it just feels like ever since this Kellen Moore hire became official, we have been seeing a lot of really just different things. They're not seeing a lot of different things, just feeling different things. And it's all been pretty much positive stuff. And I got to say, shout out to Gayle Benson and Mickey Loomis because, maybe this doesn't work out, but Kellen Moore's got me feeling fired up. So let's dive in. Gayle Benson is absolutely committed to Kellen Moore and making sure that he can win a Super Bowl. Gayle Benson saying, "You have my full commitment to do whatever it takes to deliver another Lombardi trophy to New Orleans." And that's coming from Gayle Benson to Kellen Moore in the introductory press conference within the first couple of minutes. So, right off the bat, Gayle Benson giving an endorsement of, we are not going to mess around. We are doing what it takes to make this happen. And then Mickey Loomis, he took to the stand and he said, "We've been meeting for the last 24 hours. And man, it's very easy to get excited about the direction that he and his staff are going to take our team." And I just got to say, when it comes to Kellen Moore and the Saints' tenure here, I'm just excited for something fresh. It's something new. It's something different. It's not tied to the Sean Payton or Drew Brees era. It's just something new and different. In 20-plus years of the same song and dance, it's nice to see something new. It's nice to see something fresh, and it's nice to see something young. So I'm really, really excited, and I think Saints fans, you should be excited as well. But carrying on, Kellen Moore, it's very obvious. He has a very clear vision for this team. He spoke to great extent about what his philosophies are, what he's looking for in his staff, what he's looking for in the players, what he wants to do this year. And he talked a lot about players, called a lot of guys out by name: Derek Carr, Taysom Hill, Alvin Kamara. Specifically, those three got a lot of extra discussion time, if you will. But here's what Kellen Moore had to say about the Saints and what to expect. He says, "We have an exciting future for New Orleans football. Our number one goal is to create an environment that allows every player, coach, and staff member to be their best." And I love that philosophy. I think that is a really, really good mentality to have. It doesn't start just with the owners and the management and the players. It also starts from the top to the bottom, staffers, cooks in the kitchen, janitors, and the guys cleaning the bottom of the toilet seat. Like, everybody has to be bought in on this, and for the whole ship to sail, if you will. And Moore's offensive philosophy, he's saying that it's going to be smart, fast, and physical. They are going to be a smart, fast, and physical football team. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is really, really good news if you ask me. That's what I wanted to see in this future team, and in my head coach, I wanted to see a young mind. I wanted to see somebody who was going to be creative, who's going to have a fast-paced offense. He's going to use a lot of his little tricks and tidbits and all that stuff that he's learned through the course of his coaching career to get him ready for the head coaching role. And I'm really excited. I keep saying it, but guys, the Kellen Moore era is here, and it's so fun. To be totally honest, it's going to be much, much better than what we just dealt with. The Dennis Allen era, that's all left in the dust. That's all in the past. So I'm really glad that that's the situation here. But the Kellen Moore era is here. So subscribe for daily content. We're going to be doing news, rumors, videos all throughout the offseason. We go live every single game day. We go live every single week on Wednesday afternoons. I have been committed to giving y'all the best coverage and the best content. And, hey, that's what I'm going to continue to do. So, Saints fans, please feel free to subscribe as we are in the next generation of New Orleans Saints football. All right, so more takeaways. Kellen Moore, I think that he's actually over here building something long-term. It's very, very clear that the New Orleans Saints don't have a get this done quickly, get this fixed fast. It's very clear that that's not the mindset in the building. Just based off of how Mickey Loomis and Gayle Benson talked at the beginning of the presser, and then how Kellen Moore spoke and what he said, it made me believe that he's going to have some time to right the ship. And we all know that this is not something that's going to be fixed overnight. It's going to take a little bit of time. And I think that Kellen Moore, I've said it before, I'll continue to say it, is a guy that can manage and navigate the rebuild pretty well. And, maybe you don't have to do too much rebuilding if you have the quality pieces and you know how to utilize them and you have a good coach and you have a good team and da-da-da-da-da. I mean, it's just, there's so many what-ifs here with Kellen Moore. I just want to keep kind of going on with this. He says he wants to hire the right staff and he wants to do it the right way. So, not only is he not really rushed to make, everything turn around with wins, he's also not getting rushed to build the staff. And I kind of am indifferent about it. Sure, I would love to see the staff get filled out quick. I would love to see the Saints get their pick of the litter. However, it is also mid-February. There isn't a date that we have to have the roster set. And, I think if you don't have that pressure, it gives you time to really do a thorough check and find which guys deserve to be a part of your coaching staff and which guys will make the team better. John Hendricks also adding to this whole thing. There's just a lot of quotes. There's a lot of stuff. So some of this kind of just B-roll of just information and, me reacting to some of this information just way easier than a bunch of quote graphics for you guys. I promise you that. Kellen Moore, he also was saying that he doesn't want this, he wants the Saints to be a team that stresses opponents out. I mean, I remember just a handful of years ago when Drew Brees and Sean Payton were the head coach, the Saints were a feared and respected team. They were a team that, quite frankly, you could never overlook. It didn't matter who you had on your roster. It didn't matter how good you were. You could never overlook the New Orleans Saints. And I love that Kellen Moore wants to get back to that. I also love that Kellen Moore is over here trying to build a culture. It's very obvious that that's what's going on here. And it's important to build a culture. I mean, look at some of the best organizations in the National Football League. One commonality between all of them is that they all have very strong cultures. And the New Orleans Saints is a team and an organization right now that has been lacking culture. So Kellen Moore to build that is really, really good news for the New Orleans Saints and us Saints fans as well. I also found it pretty interesting that Kellen Moore was a fan of the roster. He had a lot of glowing things to say about multiple people, not just offensively, but defensively as well. I'm going to dive into what he said specifically about Derek Carr and Taysom Hill, but really fast, really quick, got to give a shout out to today's presenting sponsor, and that is Tushy Bidets. Keep that hiney shiny and use the link in the comment section and description to get yourself a bidet for your home. If you think you have problems, just wait till you hear another dude fighting for his life in the toilet stall next to you. Guys, our bowels, it's a shit show. But you can clean up your routine so that way you can have a, shiny hiney, if you will. 88% of people have already shit the bed on their New Year's resolutions. But you can still get your ass right by washing with a Tushy Bidet. I love my Tushy Bidet. I use it every single day. Most days, I use it multiple times a day. And on top of that, it's so easy to install. You don't need to go to plumber school. You don't need to be an electrician. It's so easy, a Falcons fan can do it. Tushy has 2 new ultra-sleek bidet seats, Wave and Oasis, with front and rear wash to clean all those hard-to-reach places. The Tushy Wave and Oasis bidets easily attached to your existing toilet without the need for additional plumbing or electricity. They even have a quick release button to remove the seat for instant deep cleaning. There's still time to get your ass right for life. For a limited time, our listeners get 10% off their first bidet order when you use code CHAT at checkout. That's 10% off your first bidet order at hellotushy.com with promo code CHAT. All that information is in the comments and description of this video. Keep that hiney shiny, go clean up that mess, and go get started with Tushy. Alrighty, so I want to just keep talking about this culture thing. And I think it's important for the Saints to build a culture, but by the same time, build the roster. You can build a quality situation with players that are still aging, that are good leaders, and that are quality veterans, but by also, kind of catering and not catering, but ushering in the next era and the younger guys. Kellen Moore, he also had this to say about the team. He says, we recognize that there's so much good going on here. We want to embrace the good. We don't want to lose any of the good while building this the right way. So, I think that that's important. He wants to build this the right way. He wants to build a culture. He wants to improve the roster. But that doesn't mean that there aren't pieces that you can succeed with. And Kellen Moore acknowledged the fact that injuries were an issue last year. I mean, most of the starting offense at one point or another missed a game. Literally, I think Trevor Penning and or Taliese Fawanga. No, Trevor Penning, I think, is the only player on the offense as a starter that didn't miss a game. It's insane. And so that is a big factor of why the Saints had so many issues last year. Also, the fact that they were ran by incompetence with Dennis Allen for most of the season. I also will add this. Derek Carr might stick around. Shocking, but we might see Derek Carr actually back in New Orleans. You know, I've always kind of been saying this, that I think Kellen Moore would rather go with a different quarterback than Derek Carr. But then during the press conference, he said this: Derek's a tremendous quarterback in this league. He's a starter in this league. He's a premier player in the NFL. I'm really excited, to team up with him and go through this process. Like, to me, I don't necessarily take that as, oh my God, he's staying. Like, Derek Carr is 100% here. To me, I take that as Kellen Moore wants to get to know the roster. He wants to get to know the guys that are on the team, and he wants to get to know the people around the organization. He hasn't even been there for 48 hours, guys. I mean, he just had his introductory press conference. He hasn't even hired an OC or a defensive coordinator. Like, hasn't done anything. Dude's barely had the opportunity to go hit Cafe Du Monde. So with Kellen Moore, he needs the opportunity to get to know the roster. That doesn't mean Derek Carr is cut. That doesn't mean Derek Carr is safe. But he has to get to know the situation that Derek Carr is in and that the Saints are in. And that doesn't mean that media didn't press Kellen Moore about this a couple times. I mean, he was asked multiple times about, what's your outlook with Derek Carr? He was just non-committal. Like, he did not say whether or not Derek Carr would be the starter week one. So maybe he is, maybe he isn't. Kellen Moore did have some nice things to say about Derek Carr, so you got to love that. But I also don't think that Kellen Moore's a guy who's just going to go and trash a player that was on a team that he just got to. I wouldn't expect that from a guy like Kellen Moore. But I want you to answer this question for me. What are your thoughts? Where will Derek Carr play next season? Will it be in New Orleans? Will it be the Jets? Will it be back with the Raiders? Will it be the Giants? Who knows? There's a lot of teams that could use a quarterback, and I want you guys to show if you know ball. Where will Derek Carr play next season? All righty, last big takeaway here that I have. Kellen Moore, he just wants to be in New Orleans. He wants to be in New Orleans. And, that's something in itself that is valuable in my opinion. Kellen Moore, he's a guy that didn't have to leave Philadelphia. The Eagles are set up for long-term success right now. He had no business leaving, and he wanted the job. He came to New Orleans to take this job. He reiterated that throughout the hiring process, the Saints worked with him, he worked with the Saints, and he was very hopeful that things would work out. Obviously, they did. It is also kind of funny. A reporter did ask, he said, Kellen, have you gotten the opportunity to try any of the food here? Before he even answered, said, please tell me not Chipotle. So no Chipotle, obviously, for Kellen Moore. He did make a comment. He said that they've already had a couple king cakes. So he's doing all the right things here. He's winning the fan base over. He's well-spoken. He has a vision. He's young. He's firing you up. He also even commented about how quickly he saw how special the city of New Orleans was throughout the Super Bowl week. That's just cool, man. It's something that I really appreciate is that he wanted to be in the Saints, and he wanted to take on the burden of trying to fix everything. Got to give the man credit for that. And also, very cool full circle moment. Kellen Moore, his very first NFL experience was a top 30 visit with the Saints back in 2012, which, that's actually pretty cool if you ask me. I also will say it was dope. In the end of the press conference, Kellen Moore, he did pay some respects to Sean Payton and said, hey, he was a phenomenal coach here for the Saints. He is a very highly respected guy among the National Football League. And, ultimately, everyone has so much respect for what he's done in this league. He also went on to say that the standard has been built based off of his foundation, and we would love that and want to embrace that. So they want to embrace what the Saints used to do. without recreating it, which I think is a good mentality. It's pay homage and pay respects to the success that we had at one point in time a handful of years ago. But let's also look ahead and create our own success. Let's take the standards that we had back then and let's make this happen moving forward. And, just to wrap things up, I really do believe the Saints got their guy. Maybe it's a little bit of overly optimistic. Maybe I'm wearing black and gold colored lenses right now, but I'll tell you what, man. I mean, the guy just fresh off a Super Bowl, one of the hottest offenses in the league. He's a young mind. He's the youngest quarterback. He's the youngest head coach in the National Football League. Everywhere he's gone, he's been a winner. He's the winningest quarterback. I think he has the most winning quarterback in college football history, like highest percentage. He was 50-3 as a starting quarterback in college football. That's unbelievable. I'm hoping this works out because this could be the guy long term. This could be Kellen Moore could be a person that's still here in 10, 15 years if all things work out. So fingers crossed. I hope I'm right. I would love to be right, but I've been wrong before. But I don't think I'm going to be wrong on this one. Fingers crossed. I really hope not, because then we'll end up on, what's it, Cold Takes Exposed or whatever? Yeah, don't want to end up there. Alrighty, Saints fans, I really appreciate you for hanging out, rock and rolling with us. If you guys want to check out the entire press conference, I highly encourage you do it. But this video just kind of took all the little pieces that you needed to know. I gave you my opinions. I gave you my takes. So this is why you subscribe to the channel, and this is why you tune into Saints Now by Chat Sports. Y'all stay golden, and we'll see you next time.